Mobile water, unique in every way.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi
News.
97.3 Citi FM. This is the Citi Prime News. We're broadcasting live from our studio at Adabraka here in Accra. Coming up in the bulletin, Special Prosecutor amends charges against former NPA boss Mustafa Hamid and 9 others, increasing the count from 25 to 54. Also in the bulletin, Environmental Protection Authority raises alarm over growing trend of illegal gold processing in some homes in Accra.
So they just carry the rocks and then bring them to their homes to wash. And
still on the Citi Prime News, the Education Minister laments infrastructure deficit at Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, promising government action.
We need the IDP, the CID, BNI, all of them to rise up to the work.
And later on the Citi Prime News, former Communications Minister Eslo Usuekufo to contest NPP General Secretary position. All that and more coming up on the Citi Prime News, which is heard live around the world on citynewsroom.com and on our partner stations in country. In the Western region, we're on Beach 105.5 FM and Sky Power 93.5 FM, both in Takrady. In the Bono region, we're on J-Live 95.5 FM in Sunyai. In the Ashanti region, we're on Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi and Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're heard on Revival 99.3 FM in Tajevu.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
I'm Charles Osukumi, grateful to you this afternoon for your time. Let's begin the bulletin from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which has amended the charges against former Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, increasing the count from 25 to 54. Now, this follows what the OSP says was the discovery of new evidence. The amended charge sheet details 54 criminal counts against Mustafa Hamid and 9 others, including associated companies for alleged large-scale extortion, abuse of public office and money laundering amounting to over 297 million cedis. According to the special prosecutor, the accused persons allegedly extorted millions of cedis and foreign currency from bulk oil transporters and oil marketing companies under the guise of official duties before laundering the proceeds through property acquisitions and business entities to conceal their illicit origins. Dr. Abdul Hamid and his co-defendants are accused of engaging in the scheme between 2022 and 2024, during which vast sums of monies were siphoned. Away from that, the Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has announced plans to set up a technical team to review the computerized school placement system, which has faced challenges over the years. Haruna Idrisu explained that the initiative aims to make the placement of students into senior high schools more transparent, fair and efficient. He made the announcement during a surprise visit to the Presbyterian Senior High School in Accra, where he interacted with students and teachers.
I have observed that some parents are unhappy, justified. Some students are unhappy, justified, because he chose a particular course, science, and was given general arts or business. That will be a disincentive even for that child to study hard and go do it best. So it means that the computerized placement system is not working well for the country, and I'm happy to review this, and I would review it. I'll put in place a committee to review its performance over the decades and then give me a credible alternative. What we need is meritorious admission. I mean, nobody would accept that you get a grade 6, you can't get a school of your first choice. What can explain that? It cannot be explained because that candidate has been pushed away by protocol. That's unfair.
Now, the Education Minister has also acknowledged the infrastructure challenges facing the Presbyterian Boys Secondary School and has assured school authorities of government support to address them. The minister made the remarks during a visit to the school as first-year SHS students report across the country. Over 500,000 students are expected to begin their secondary education this academic year following placement through the computerized school placement system.
My assessment here is that classrooms not adequate, dormitories not adequate, laboratories insufficient and not in good shape. Government will deliberately in the coming years, particularly in 2026, will work to upgrade 10 category C schools to D schools and 10 category B schools to A schools. Then I'll pick a special 10 and Presec will be part of that special 10. And we will give you the needed intervention by way of improved infrastructure and the classroom, laboratories and dormitories so that you continue to make these young people and parents happy.
Again, on the Education Minister, he has praised the vital role of old student associations and religious organizations in supporting education, giving special recognition to the Presbyterian Church of Ghana.
What I've also particularly noticed is the role of old boys, old students in supporting the states. I recognize a strong bond and relationship between the church and the state in providing quality education. And for our purposes today, the Presbyterian Church, I want to salute them and pay tribute to them. From Odumasi now to Accra, Presec have seen many young people mention Opujeto, mention Opu Boy. They are all proud students of this school.
You heard Education Minister Haruna Idrisu. Still on the education sector, the authorities at the School Placement Resolution Center have extended the operations to Friday, October 24. This comes despite an earlier announcement from the Ministry of Education declaring the 2025-2026 school placement and accommodation process officially closed. Deputy Coordinator of the Free Senior High School Secretariat, Dr. Belinda Glover, tells Citi News that the extension became necessary as numbers of parents and students continue to visit the center to have their concerns addressed.
We have extended the date. We have extended it to Friday. This is just a mop-up exercise to address any other issues that may be remaining. Yeah. So on Friday, we noticed that though we left around 9 p.m., there was no anyone around, but we felt that in order to serve the good people of Ghana and for everybody to be satisfied and happy, we thought it wise to come back. This is just for the network for the meantime. I don't know about it across the country. I need to verify that and then I can speak to it.
You heard the Deputy Coordinator of the Free Senior High School Secretariat, Dr. Belinda Glover. Still on education and the reporting of first-year students, the Ministry of Education has condemned the imposition of excessive levies by some senior high schools following the admission of first-year students for the 2025-2026 academic year. Now, this comes after concerns were raised about school officials charging unapproved fees after parents had fulfilled all requirements outlined in their official school prospectus. Now, speaking on Channel 1 TV's Breakfast Daily Show, the press secretary to the Ministry of Education, Hasmin Mohammed, warned that officials of senior high schools found engaging in such practices will be made to face sanctions.
Prior to the reporting date, the Ghana Education Service give out prospectus for parents and then students. Beyond the prospectus, no school management have the right to charge any parents or to levy any parents beyond the recommended prospectus that they roll out, they issued out to the parents. Any illegal fee will be deemed as extortion, and the ministry will not take that lightly, and the management of the various schools themselves are very much aware of this. And if any headmaster or headmistress engages himself or herself in that act, the appropriate sanctions will be meted out. They should report such illegal charges to the Ministry of Education or the Ghana Education Service, and it will be attended to.
Now, addressing issues of infrastructure deficit in some senior high schools, Hasmin Mohammed disclosed that the Ministry of Education has submitted a proposal for over 4 billion Ghana cedis to improve school facilities across the country.
The ministry is also proposing to improve infrastructure in some junior high schools in the country, especially the hard-to-reach areas. You are very much aware that in Ghana, we still have some children who walk long distances to access education in the rural part of Ghana. So the ministry has proposed over 4 billion Ghana cedis to central government to be able to tackle all these issues.
You heard Press Secretary to the Minister of Education, Hasmin Mohammed. Now, let's move on away from education. The Environmental Protection Authority has expressed concern over the growing trend of illegal gold processing in some residential areas of Accra. The agency warns that this practice poses serious environmental and public health risks. Speaking to Citi News, Deputy CEO Professor Michael Ayamga says some residences are now importing rocks and processing gold in their homes. He notes that this activity could release dangerous chemicals, including mercury, into the environment.
That the intensification and the success of NIMOS and other things in depopulating the Galamsey areas and the tightening security is making some unscrupulous people devise new ways of washing gold. So they just carry the rocks and then bring them to their homes to wash. And of course, this is an issue that requires public knowledge and vigilance. And I want to draw that attention. Everybody needs to understand that it's not only in the forest that people can do galamsey. That those greedy and wicked people have found another way of doing it, you said. But it looks like some now see it as an option, that if they can wash gold into our water bodies and the rest, they may bring it to the city and then use water in the city to wash the gold. The danger is that this is likely to have some implications on pollution even in our cities. It's a new variant. Somebody just alerted me over the weekend that it was already a practice that some foreign nationals did some time ago, but they look like they want to revert to it.
That was the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Michael Ayamga. Meanwhile, the Managing Director of the Ghana Water Limited is ruling out the imposition of a state of emergency to address issues of illegal mining. Adam Mutawakilu says illegal mining, or popularly known as galamsey, is not the only activity causing the shutdown of their treatment plants. Addressing a press conference in Accra, he says declaring a state of emergency is not the best solution.
Is state of emergency going to be there forever? That is the question we must ask. You declare state of emergency, so for how many years? When the people continue, the day you leave the state of emergency, when they go back, we can't have state of emergency forever. So there must be pragmatic measures, as the President Mama had put it, to make sure that we put in measures to sustain it, and that will be sustained forever. I think in my position, Ghana Water is not state of emergency, and two, it's not only illegal money that sold our treatment plants. You realize that Metal Volta Regional, private treatment plant is salted. Agozomi treatment plant is salted because of sand winning and construction. If you go to Upper West, Jambuse, I mentioned it, is salted. Not because of illegal mining, but rather sand winning. If you come to Berikesi, River Ofin is salted. Meanwhile, River Ofin for now is very good. Why? The siltation has been there for a long time.
Voice of Managing Director of Ghana Water Limited, Adam Mutawakilu. In some other news, the Lands Ministry says the operations of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Task Force, NIMOS, at Abisim in the eastern region have led to the successful removal of illegal miners from the area. The Secretariat, established as the central body for initiating, coordinating and supervising mining raids, forms part of government's intensified efforts to combat galamsey. Providing an update on the task force progress, Director of Communications at the Lands Ministry, Mausi Mawunyefia, says a tributary of the Birim River, River Ura, which was previously diverted by illegal miners, is now regaining its purity.
Now, as part of the updates, we had indicated that in Nabesim, around the Achem Winchi area, the locals had hinted to the NIMOS team that one tributary of the Birim River, which is the River Ura, had been diverted by the illegal miners for their activities, and the river was heavily polluted. As at the time that the NIMOS team had gotten the illegal miners had gotten wind of their presence and had bolted, but they left their machines behind and the equipment behind, which were confiscated or destroyed as per the protocol of the team. And over the weekend, the monitoring team had gone back to pick up intel on activities ongoing in the area. And we're happy to see that no illegal mining activities was ongoing there. And the River Ura, particularly after a few days of respite, is seeing significant improvements. If you look at the water, the color of the water over this weekend versus what it was last week, you see is significantly improved. The turbidity is improved, the clarity of the water is improved, and this is basically what we want to see.
Voice of Director of Communications at the Lands Ministry, Mausi Mawunyefia. You are still listening to the City Prime News here on 97.3 Citi FM, heard around the world on citynewsroom.com. Here in the country, in the northern region, we're on Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM. In the Upper East region, we're on Mike 105.3 FM in Avrongo. And in the Upper West region, we're on Tunsong 97.3 FM in Wa and Drapa 96.1 FM. Still ahead in the bulletin, former Communications Minister Esla Owusu Kuful to contest NPP General Secretary position. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
This October, Northern Ghana takes center stage. Get ready for the Northern Business Fair 2025, the ultimate one-stop shop for everything made in Ghana in the Savannah, Northern, Northeast, Upper East, and Upper West regions. From hand-woven smocks and intricate crafts to modern manufacturing, innovative packaging of made-in-Ghana products, and thriving homegrown businesses, it's a vibrant celebration of talent, innovation, and authenticity. Brought to you by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM, it's the biggest trade fair showcasing Kenyan SMEs, startups, research bodies, and indigenous brands making waves across the nation. It's happening on Saturday the 25th and Sunday the 26th of October 2025 at the Tamale Sports Stadium. The time is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Want to exhibit? Call 0205-973-973 today and book your space. Don't just hear about it, see it, experience it, and live it. The Northern Business Fair, your market, your connections, your growth. The Northern Business Fair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM and is proudly sponsored by Ecobank, Side Hustle, the Ghana Enterprises Agency, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, and supported by Cackstone Records.
The winning season is back, but this time I am collecting the wins like jollof at a wedding. The luckiest season 3 is here. Your chance to flip your luck or maybe your bank account too.
2 easy ways to join. Dial *712#. Hit 1 to buy for you or 2 to gift a friend. Feeling lucky? Pick 1 for a random number or hit 2 to choose your own. Pay with mobile money. Done. You're in.
Or go to the luckiestafrica.com, click community tickets, choose your number or let the system do so for you. You can buy a ticket for your boo or your favorite barber. Pay with Momo or card if you're abroad.
1 ticket could turn your 1 Ghana Cedi into 500 times more. And the whole community could win 10 times over.
Dial *712# or log on.
Let's get lucky together because luck is everywhere.
Play responsibly, not for persons under 18 years. This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. This is the City Prime News on 97.3 City FM. Now to some NPP politics, and former Communications Minister Eslo Uswekufu has officially declared her intention to contest the General Secretary position of the party. In a Facebook post, she called on party supporters nationwide to back her bid to revive and reorganize the party ahead of the 2028 general elections. She urged members to remain hopeful, describing the party's current challenges as part of a necessary period of self-reflection and renewal. The former Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West also criticized the governing National Democratic Congress, calling it a caretaker government that came to power on deceit and unfulfilled promises. Now, a poll conducted between August and September has revealed that NPP flag-bearer hopeful Kennedy Japan is gaining ground ahead of the party's January 2026 presidential primaries. The poll conducted by a group of academics says Kennedy Japan led with 44.11%, mainly from the southern regions, while Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia followed with 39.51%, supported largely from the north. Lead researcher Dr. Evans Dua says both candidates must step up with their constituency campaigns and improve their nationwide visibility to win the primaries.
As it stands, one thing is very clear. For Honorable Kennedy Ohine Japan, momentum is on his side and you can see he's gaining. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is also gaining momentum, but one for Honorable Kennedy Ohine Japan looks significant, Bawumia looks marginal. Dr. Brian Champon may have to work more because he was gaining momentum and has dropped in momentum with the delegates. Dr. Ya Oseduchum is now the one who's also gaining momentum. In terms of percentage, he's having a lot of momentum too on his side. But both of them, you can see that at the end of the day, it becomes still a two-horse race. The other people can consolidate, but at the end of the day, it's between Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and then Honorable Kennedy Ohine Japan. What would make the main difference is about the swing regions. Bono East Ahafo. That place has to be decided carefully. And I think that what has to be done at this very moment is that Honorable Kennedy Ohine Japan at this moment is the one for September who is capable of crossing the 50+1.
Dr. Evans Dua is a researcher. You heard him speaking on a latest poll on the NPP upcoming presidential primaries. And away from the NPP, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, has warned that it will be compelled to increase the prices of goods by 100% should utility tariffs be raised by a similar margin. This threat comes weeks after FABAG petitioned President John Mahama to halt any unconditional approval of the Electricity Company of Ghana's proposed tariff increases for the 2025 to 2030 period. Chairman of FABAG, Reverend John Awuni, called on President Mahama to initiate comprehensive reforms at ECG and the Ghana Water Limited before any new tariff adjustments are approved.
The government were to ensure that all the government institutions are giving prepaid meters. The government were to ensure that ECG give ECG key performance indicators. They give them targets to achieve, and they have to account to Ghanaians every quarter. ECG people will set up. If government were to say that there will not be any salary increment in the ECG, if there is no improvement in their services in terms of improvement of workers' attitude and all that, they will all set up. You see, we need to give out something in order to get something back. But the way forward the way forward is not higher tariff. Higher and higher tariffs will continue to amount to pouring more water into a leaking bucket or a basket for that matter. If government goes ahead to increase it by 100%, we will also push the prices up by 100%. And the economy will lose.
Voice of Reverend John Awuni, the chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. Now, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly Clinic has paid a fine of over 40,000 Ghana cedis to the Health Facilities and Regulatory Agency, HEFRA, for operating without renewing its license. The clinic was among 18 health facilities shut down last week during HEFRA's ongoing enforcement exercise in the Ashanti region. Speaking to City News, the head of public relations at HEFRA, Christabel Aram Nuhoho, confirmed that the facility was reopened a day after the shutdown following the payment of the fine.
KMS clinic has been reopened to the public.
It was reopened, I think, just the following day because management of KMA have come to HEFA. They were fined. They have paid their fine. They also paid for what we call expert inspection because there's a standby team that is always available to go and do the inspection if you are ready. So once they expressed interest that they were ready for the inspection, inspections were done in that facility. And per the inspection that was done, they didn't meet all the requirements. Okay, obviously we're not expecting them to get 100 over 100, but they did meet the minimum requirements, for which reason they were given a provisional license to operate for 6 months, within which they are expected to implement the recommendations that they were given. So once they implement those recommendations and they are less HEPA, we will go and do what we call re-inspection. After the re-inspection, if we are satisfied that they have done or implemented all the recommendations that they were given, then the board will issue them what we call a long-term license, which is for 3 years.
That was the head of public relations at the Health Facilities and Regulatory Agency, Christabel Eyram Nuhoho. Let's stay with health. The Ghana Nurses and Midwives Association has welcomed the government decision to export Ghanaian nurses to Grenada. President Mahama, during a recent meeting with the Prime Minister of the Caribbean country, Dickon Mitchell, disclosed that the two countries have signed a memorandum of understanding for the exportation of Ghanaian nurses due to the limited number of health professionals in Grenada. Now, speaking to Citi News on the development, President of the Nurses Association, Perpetual Furiampofo, urged the government to look at exporting the numerous backlog of unemployed nurses instead of specialized ones.
I don't know the contents of the MOU and I don't know the caliber of nurses that Ghana intends to send to Grenada. But if these are the young nurses who are unemployed and are waiting to get employment in Ghana's public health system, then I'll be happy because staying at home is not the right thing. They are losing their skills and they've been waiting at home for so long. However, if it's about sending out there to Grenada nurses within the health system who are already practicing and are at posts in the various health facilities, then that will be a bit of a challenge because we know that most of the facilities are already struggling.
Now, the association also expressed joy at the Ministry of Health's decision to secure financial clearance for the over 13,000 health professionals who have been awaiting months of unpaid salaries.
That also came as good news, and we were happy to know because they have been working for, some have been working for 9 months, some have been working for 10 months without any salary, and they were pushed to the point where they had to go out there and do a peaceful demonstration, and they handed their petitions to the employer. And if the situation now is that they've attained financial clearance and will employ them, will give them their salaries from November 2025, then it's good news because just like we mentioned during the time of their demonstration, getting them their monthly salaries or remuneration is way better whilst the government prepares to pay them their arrears. At least getting their monthly salary will mean they are able to feed themselves, transport themselves, pay their rent, and do whatever they need to do in terms of getting their lives going, rather than not receiving anything and be working for several months. So it's good news, and I hope the employer will stick by that and get them paid in November and subsequently. And as for their arrears in terms of the 9 months or the 10 months, it must be captured adequately in the budget for next year so that they are paid. We are already having issues because in terms of the practicing nurses, our collective agreement is still in implementation, is still in limbo. What has been paid is only the uniform allowance, and these are issues of concern, and I hope they are capturing all of it and discussing this at the cabinet level so that we can be paid what is duly ours. And of course, per the agreement, those that need to be shifted to next year and contained in the budget for next year, we are hoping that will be done also so that we can have our peace to focus on the work that we do to make Ghanaians happy and to give the care that they deserve.
The voice of President of the Ghana Nurses and Midwives Association, Perpetual Ofori Ampofo. And finally, before we go, the Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson has urged security personnel to heighten surveillance at the Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire border at Elubo. This follows the entry of 1,500 Ivorians into Ghana for safety amid disturbances ahead of their general election scheduled for October 25. Speaking after a working visit to security personnel at Elubo, the minister urged them to remain vigilant and ensure the country's borders are well secured. Well, that'll be all for this edition of the City Prime News, which came to you live from our studio in Adabraka. For more news, log on to our website, citynewsroom.com. I am Charles Osukumi. Many thanks to you for listening.